Bad sounding music. This music sounds really bad. Let's hear that copyright.
Bad sounding music.
Snooky's brother.
As you may have guessed from the introduction video, today we'll be upgrading the appalling audio quality of my Nissan 200SX. For that we will be using these S1E8 speakers. It's a speaker set consisting of two 13mm standard speakers and two high-tone speakers. These are mid and low range, and these are the high range. And together they should really improve the sound quality of the car. Also, we will be using these sound dampening mats, and they will be glued into the doors to dampen the kind of vibration that's within the doors and improve the sound further. I've been on many internet forums regarding audio quality, and I think there are many philosophies you can follow, but this should be an easy approach that's very doable and at the same time should yield great results. There is much more that you can do than this, but yeah, it's a starting point, I would say. In order to upgrade the sound system, we have to take out the inner door cards. Then we can gain access to the main speaker. And there's another speaker slot here. I'm not actually sure whether there is a speaker in there currently, but we will be upgrading it anyways. The first step will be to isolate the doors or to dampen them sound-wise. We will do that first. Afterwards we will replace the speaker down here, and then as a final step we will upgrade the speaker up here. Once we have done that for this side of the car, we will move on to the other side. That's the plan. Let's get started. Here you can see the old and ancient speakers that were falling apart whilst we were taking the door card off. These haven't been working properly in a long time, and yeah, they are definitely done. Now the next step will be to simply remove this foil, which we will have to re-glue once we are done with it. And then we will apply our dampening foil in here. I did clean the inside of the door now, and the surface is dry and smooth. That's a good starting point. Now that the doors are prepared from the inside, we will start to glue our dampening on the inside. I've never done that before, to be honest. Let's see how it will go, but it shouldn't be too complicated. I'm planning to work in small patches, so basically decide for an area I want to work on and then decide on the size of the patch and just start working on it. Let's see. Here you can see I put in the first patch now. I decided to go for a large patch on the front upper side of the door. Now it's only glued in place very loosely, and now I will use a rolling tool to thoroughly tighten it. This is the tool that we will be using, and I will simply start rolling over the surface of the material like so, in order to thoroughly glue it in place. The first patch is thoroughly installed now. As you can see, it's a nice flat surface, apart from the structure of the surface, of course. And yeah, from now on I will just continue to do the same thing over and over again until most of the inside of the door is covered. I just finished insulating the door. As you can see, it's all shiny inside. I took special care about this area behind the speaker, because that's where most of the resonances might build up. And then you can see it's all the way down there. It's a good material to work with, it's quite simple, you can easily form it into shape. It's a good process. Now the last step for this side will be to take a look at the upper speaker here and see what's in there, whether there's a cable there. And then I think tomorrow I will start putting everything back together. Let's see. Okay, the A-pillar housing is removed now. As you can see here, there's something there. I think it might be a speaker, but yeah, it will be removed anyways. It's a new day and the sun has come out, which is rather nice. And we will continue our audio system upgrade. Yesterday we did this door, and I decided not to put together this door already now, but to continue with the other door. And then once that door is also isolated sound-wise, continue with putting everything back together, because that will allow me to change cables after I installed the speakers in a way that they are all the same, which is necessary in order to have the best sound experience, apparently. And yeah, let's get straight into it. just finished installing the insulation on this door as well. As you can see, it's all shiny inside on this side now as well. Now we can move on to the speakers. In order to make the new speakers work, the first step for me is to connect the new tweeters to the existing cables. I'm doing this to check if they work properly. That means taking apart the A-pillar housing on the passenger side, as well as preparing and attaching the resistors that came with the new speakers in order to make them work and sound excellent. I did test fit the high-tone speakers. This is a very inconvenient spot to work in, but it worked now and they are playing, which is good because I was slightly worried that this cable would not be attached to this new head unit, which I decided to keep. But it is connected and it is playing sounds, so I'm happy with this. We can continue with the installation. Next step will be to figure out where and how to mount these, because looking at this spot where it used to be before, it won't fit in that space. Yes, as you might have guessed, the only way for me to attach the new speakers is to use the retrofittable speaker housing that came with the speaker set. It hurts me to drill into these pristine A-pillar housings, but it's the only way for me to mount the new tweeters, since they are considerably more chunky than the old ones. In an effort to keep this installation as tidy as possible, I marked the mounting points, pre-drilled them, and then attached the mounting bracket with self-tapping screws. As a pass-through for the speaker cables, I then drilled a larger hole in the middle of the space covered up by the bracket. Okay, and with that, we can mount the thing. It's not as elegant as the original solution, but I somehow like the aftermarket look of it. After the tweeters are prepared for installation, it is now time to move on to the mid and low range speakers. You can see the old speaker and the new speaker. As you can see, the old speaker has a connection plug where it used to be connected to the car's wiring harness. Now the new speaker does not have these connection points, but instead uses these two. So in order to be able to connect these to the car, we will have to adapt the current cables to use these typical electrical adapter things. So that's what we will do now. There you go. It's been a few days and I'm excited to finally install the new speakers. I've been waiting on these rings, which allow me to adapt the original 165mm speaker size to the 130mm I will be using now. And this adapter will have to be installed now, and then we can put in the new speakers and put everything else back together. Let's go. I just now realized that these cables are too short to fit the speaker. There's too much of a gap between the speaker and the cables. I will not be able to make that work, so I will have to splice in some more cable here. Yay!
Das kann auch nicht wahr sein.
Yes, that really happened. I just slipped with the screwdriver and bam, there was a hole in the speaker. But let's be real, if you do things by yourself, shit like this can always happen and you have to be able to handle that. Which I am, of course. I moved on to the other side of the car where I took special care not to poke any additional holes into the new speakers, my car or my soul. Luckily it later turned out that the hole on the left speaker does not have noticeable influence on the sound of it, which is why I decided to keep it the way it is for now and don't let it bother me. Which totally works. It does not bother me. Okay, both low and mid-range speakers are now installed. Final thing to do will be to put the door cards back on and to also install our high-pitched speakers. There you go, that's the audio system upgraded. We replaced the tweeters and the low and mid-range speakers, and I have to say the result is much better than I expected. Also the sound insulation in the doors I think helps a lot to improve the sound, and you can really hear these dry, crisp sounds. It's pretty spectacular, I have to say. It's really, really good. I can only recommend if you would like to upgrade your sound system to use this Eaton system, because in my opinion it sounds great, and I think I'll go for a drive now and listen some more. What you can do in the meantime is maybe subscribe to this channel if you like the video and support me in doing more things like this to my car, maybe next time without destroying a speaker.